Well, hello there and welcome to my workshop. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be really cracking on with this guitar. I'm going to get the neck fitted, I'm going to cut the hole for the pickup, sort out where the bridge is going to go and how to fit the tail stop. I've also got a great guitar story to tell you all about, so please stay tuned. I really need to get this guitar, well, the body done and sanded so I can hand it back to Carolyn to do her magic on it. So let's get going. Whew. Not sure how we're going to do this. Okay, I've got the bolt, I've got the insert, I've got a washer and my template and a 7-point instruction. So let's get on. First thing to do is to mark the position on the body. Drill a 2mm pilot hole. Step 3, I've got to transfer this hole onto the neck. So what I'm going to do is put some tape in there. Getting rid of all the rubbish that's in there. Try again. Masking tape. Some double-sided tape. Okay, that looks nice and tight. Yes. Step 4, use a 20mm Forstner bit to create an indent in the back of the body to hide the bolt. Step 5, drill a 9mm hole through the body. The bolt is actually 8mm in diameter, but 9mm just allows it some adjustment. Step 6, drill a 10mm hole in the neck to the correct depth, and this will be for the insert. Step 7, fit the insert without trying to rip the wood too much, as I've already seem to have done. Never mind, we're going to have to do a bit of clear up afterwards. Just take your time. That's it. Okay, let's see if it fits. I think I'll need to shorten the bolt a bit, but let's just see if it screws in. Yeah, I'm going to need to shorten the bolt. Take 2 with the shorter bolt. That looks pretty good. Just going to check that the neck is square. Let's mark the centre there and there. Well, that's pretty close. Do you know what? I might be just a millimetre off. I think that's close enough. Okay, so with the neck fitted, I've just laid the top on again. It's not glued or anything like that. I'm just going to mark up where the bridge and everything can go. You may remember at the end of the last video I said I had a plan C for sorting out the problem with the neck. Well, I don't think I need a plan C, because I think the solution that I came up with was to put a little fillet in just there, has done the job, and once it's all sanded down and shaped and everything, I think it's going to be fine. My plan C was to add a bit of this material onto the heel of the neck there, but I think it's just going to make it more ugly, to be perfectly honest with you. So plan C is in the bin. Right, let's mark up where this neck runs. Double check that other one. Okay, well, I hope you can see this. I mean, I'm just a little bit off centre. That pencil mark there marks the centre of these two lines, which is taken from the neck that I've just done, and the hole there is actually on the joint of the two pieces. So I am really close. It's about 2mm off, so I'm going to just live with that. Now also, because of my little issue with the neck, the neck's gone forwards a bit. Well, it's gone forwards by let's have a look if we can measure it. Get the ruler. It's gone forwards by about 8mm. So that line there is the new line. Just need to bear that in mind. Now let's find the position of that pickup. Okay, I've marked where I'm going to put the pickup. Now I had hoped that I could just have the actual pickup itself and just have a couple of screw holes, but of course there's going to be no way once this top's on that I can get my fingers in there to actually deal with that. So I'm going to have a surround. I'm just wondering if I could actually make a nicer one than this, perhaps out of some aluminium or something. But anyway, I need to cut this hole out, so let's get on with that. Okay, I've got that to fit. Bit of a strange way of cutting a hole, but it did the job in the end. So that's done. Right then, I think it's time now to get some kerfing glued on the top of these ribs, and so I can stick the top on. Right, well, while I leave this to cure, I think it's now time for my guitar feature. Now, in this week's feature, I'm grateful to Robin for sending me details of his guitar. Now, you may remember in March, I think it was the 22nd of March, I put the video out, I featured one of Robin's guitars, a 3/4 size guitar. Now, Robin sort of, I think, specialises in instruments that are slightly unusual. So they're not just straight guitars, although he does build straight 6-string guitars. Now, Robin also has a marvellous channel where he covers songs, and there are, I don't know, hundreds of songs he's covered now. It's a fantastic treasure trove of songs. And he sings them beautifully, he plays them beautifully, and he puts some notes against them, which sort of gives you a bit of the background of the song. So it's a really fascinating channel. Please go and have a look. I shall put a link in the description below. So it's a little bit different, this guitar feature, because Robin has done a video where he talks about the guitar and sort of demonstrates it. And he's also produced a song, the song Vincent by Don McLean. And I will put a link to that at the end because it's a marvellous rendition using this new guitar, which is a baritone guitar. Now, I've never made a baritone guitar before. I've never played one. This is a guitar that sort of sits between a bass, I believe, and a normal 6-string. It's got 6 strings, but it's got a much longer scale length. Now, Robin sent some photos, so let's go and have a look at those photos and I'll talk about the spec. Robin says after building the 3/4 size guitar, he decided to go big with a baritone, and this has a 27-inch scale length. He chose black walnut for the body. He says a dark colour to match the relatively dark sound of the guitar. Robin says he bought a black walnut board, 8 feet long and 8 inches wide and a little over an inch thick, and this was cut to lengths. He actually used 14 pieces, and you can see it all glued up here. Amazing, absolutely. He says one of the challenges was levelling that body blank without a thicknesser. It was worth it though. That walnut looks amazing and the strips give it a wonderful texture. Robin says the neck pocket was cut from the individual boards before glue up, so he never really needed to use a router. Now that's really clever. Of course it means thinking ahead, something that I'm not particularly good at. Robin bought a pre-made neck and a Strat pick guard preloaded with 3 hot rail pickups and all the wiring and controls included. Now that really sounds like a good idea, although I understand it wasn't all plain sailing. Now there were some issues. The neck wasn't straight, the frets weren't level and they were sharp on the edges. So Robin made a slotted rule from a piece of aluminium he had from an old drywall square that he bought for a DIY project some years ago. Robin told me, I got the neck straight and then he levelled the frets with sandpaper attached to the bottom of a level. He marked the tops of the frets with a Sharpie and he did it a few times until he got them all level. Then he dressed and re-crowned the frets. He reshaped the headstock to a more pleasing shape from the CBS Stratocaster shape that it came with. I hollowed out the body to accept the loaded pickguard and drilled the required holes for the ground wires and the input jack. I put 6 coats of wipe-on poly on the body and 4 on the back of the neck. And he used boiled linseed oil on the fretboard. He says I polished the frets with a rotary tool and some compound so they're pretty shiny. Now then, obviously there were some challenges. The neck problem, obviously, getting the neck centred and the angle just right. I mean, things that we experience all the time, and certainly I'm experiencing it with this guitar I'm making. Robin also had a couple of issues with the electrics. The pickup selector switch was shorting against the shielding on the bottom of the cavity. This is really frustrating because you know, you put all the pickups and the wiring together, it works fine, no problem. You put it in the guitar and then it doesn't work. Oh dear, yeah, I've been there. I don't know. Then one of the pickups wouldn't adjust, so he had to take it off the pick guard and sort it out. I mean, I love Strats, but there's a problem with that pick guard, isn't it? In that if there's anything wrong under the pick guard, all the strings have got to come off, or you've got to take the neck off and then, you know, I'll fiddle. Oh, I don't know. There we are. It can be very frustrating. You've just got to keep calm. And that's what Robin did, obviously. And, well, look at the result. What a really stylish guitar. You know, and all I'll say is if you have a wander over to his channel and watch his wonderful rendition of Vincent, you'll hear how this beautiful guitar sounds. It really does sound absolutely super. I think he's tuned it down 5 semitones. But it really does look amazing. And, you know, that walnut absolutely goes with that guitar. Really amazing. Well, Robin, thank you as always for sending details of your guitar. I mean, it is really super and I really enjoy listening to the songs that you play. So thank you very much. Cheers. I have the kerfing all done. I have rubbed some, first of all, 60 grit and then 120 grit over the top of the body here just to smooth off all the the tops there, make sure there's nothing sticking up. And I think it's now time to glue this top onto the ribs. Right then, got my pot of glue, a brush, a load of clamps. Thank goodness for the mid-aisle of these supermarkets. These are really good value, these are. Anyway, and I've also got some of my homemade violin clamps. So, whew, here we go. The big glue up. Right. Well, that's all glued and clamped. Now, there's an obvious problem going to occur when I take all of this off. And that is because I cut the top slightly smaller than the body and then put the binding on first. This was to avoid me having to try and channel it out, because I really don't have the tools to do that. What I'm going to end up with is I'm going to end up with some parts of the binding a little bit thinner than others, because when I sand it down, some of it's going to go a little bit thinner than other bits of it. And I've thought about this, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's just going to be a little, the quirk of this guitar. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, I'm happy with the way it's going so far. Right, I have a guitar body all glued together. Now I need to do a lot of sanding, and I really am not going to bore you with that. So I'm going to see you on the other side. I've done one batch of sanding. Now before I go any further, I've got to put this little inlay in there, and I think I'm just going to put it in like that so it points along the centre line. So let's get going. Okay, I have sanded the body down to 240 grit. I've sprayed it with water twice and then re-sanded it. So I think it's as good as I'm going to get it. So this guitar body is going to go off to Carolyn to do her design work on. In the meantime, I'm going to have to redesign the bridge because the surround of the bridge is too small. So I'm going to get on with that. I tell you what, why is it that dust masks don't allow for people with a big nose? Because I've been wearing a dust mask all day and my nose has been jammed up against the edge of it. Serves me right for having such a big conch, eh? Anyway, I'm going to call this video a day. Thank you very much for watching. This is getting really exciting now because we are so close to getting this guitar finished. So I hope you do stay with me. Hopefully in the next episode I'm going to be putting it all together. Now there's a promise for you. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and stay safe. Cheers.